welcome to the Blue Sofa. Today's episode is one that I've been just feeling in my whole body for days, maybe even weeks, because the year that we're getting into, the new year 2026, is not just a new year, it is the beginning of a completely new cycle. And I say that because we are shifting numerological, very difficult word, from a 9 year to a 1 year, meaning that we are ending things right now. We're ending a cycle and we're starting a new cycle. So we are entering a completely new timeline, and that means that we have a lot of opportunity in front of us, and that's what I want to talk about. I know it's normal that we talk about New Year reflections, and we are going to do that here on the podcast, just not today, because I want this episode to be about getting ready for a quantum leap in 2026. I want to talk about how to get yourself into energetic alignment with a kind of shift that comes from choosing direction and anchoring a North Star into not like, I'm just going to repeat what I did this year, but like really, where do I want to be in 10 years time? And really preparing yourself to lead from that timeline instead of just, drifting and do what you usually do and all that stuff. So most people, to be honest, enter a new year hoping that things are going to shift, but they don't actually prepare for the shift or the leap that they're actually craving. And to be honest, I don't believe that 2026 is a year just to drift. It's not a year where you can just, take it slow and easy and not really do a lot. I think this is a year where we're really gonna see that people are being called to take action, to dive into the identity shifts needing to create whatever they want to create for the next 10 years. So to make that a little bit more accessible, how do we actually do that? I want to talk about quantum leaps, what they really are, how to find that North Star, that guiding star within you that's going to help you create that quantum shift and quantum leap from day one, from year one in this new cycle. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why one direction, like the one big thing, is way more powerful than having 20 different plans and ideas. And of course, what it takes to get ready for the leap that you really want to take. So I believe it's time for grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, or kombucha, whatever you're drinking, and just settle into the Blue Sofa so we can dive in. So I wanted to start the new year with this conversation because for years, when I entered a new year, it was either with too many plans, I had 400 different things I wanted to create, or being completely overwhelmed and not doing anything and just repeating whatever I did the last year. And both created that same feeling, movement, but no momentum, or just overwhelm, or the commitment of the high energy of the new year and then just falling flat within the first couple of weeks or the first couple of months or whatever. So when I started to shift things and started to feel into, okay, how can I expand without overwhelm, without no direction? I made some of my biggest leaps and biggest expansions, and what it always comes down to is choosing one bold decision, one bold direction, one project for the year, but keeping it long term, and keeping in mind that we are entering a new cycle of 10 years. So instead of saying, oh, I want to create a membership and a group program, and I want to put up my newsletter, and I want to grow my Instagram, all of these things that we know are good for our business, scaling it back and keeping one focus that is going to be the one thing that I want to create, that I want to have anchored in and implemented and embodied in 10 years. I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but stick with me here, because when I launched my first big high-end group program, when I built my first automated funnel that is like still making me money, and the big group program is what made me multiple six figures, right? When I said yes to my new identity, like being this thought leader, being this inspirator, being the person who people come to when they want to grow their business in a more like feminine but yet powerful way, I did that before I felt ready, because that is quantum leaping. Instead of doing everything the logical way, we quantum leap into a new identity, and we will not be ready for that. So all of those things I didn't create overnight, but I also did not work harder to get it. But because I was aligned, I was prepared and devoted to one clear path and really making that one thing happen, it was so much easier. So no, I did not launch my big program and my automated funnel and did the whole identity shift in 1 year. It was over a couple of years. But my point is that when you do it like that, you actually do it, because it's not overwhelming, and it will put you on the timeline for where you want to go for the next 10 years. So let's just dive a little bit more into quantum leaping, because most people miss their moment simply because they don't feel ready for it or they're not prepared for it. And quantum leap is not about doing more, but it's also not magic. It's not meditation or forcing your way to new results. A quantum leap is that moment where clarity, like what you really want, and your energy, like how you operate in the world, the way you see yourself, your identity, your belief system, your thought patterns, and strategy, they lock together into the same direction, and you take bold actions in that direction. And it's when you step out of who I have been and into who I'm becoming, that's where you start to change timelines and you commit to it. Like there's no going back on a quantum leap. So most people don't leap. That's the thing here, because we don't understand the identity shift. Like that we have to break through our own barriers to do this. We have to break through our own belief system and the things that are subconsciously holding us back. And when we have a business, we need to pair that with clarity and strategy. So most people drift into the new year, they do a little bit of reflection, and then they hope, and they go like, yeah, whatever happens. Or they have like 27 different goals with no real direction or no real devotion behind any of them. Or they just keep on doing what they always done, like hoping for a different results. And the thing is, we can't quantum leap from that place because there's confusion, and your energy is split. So when you have too many things you have to do, you split your energy. And that creates this confused energy. The energy doesn't know where to go. So we need to have clarity, right? And one of the best ways to actually create clarity is what I call a North Star. So we need this North Star. And the North Star for 2026, I think, is probably one of the most important ones you can do the next 10 years. And let it be not only what you want this year, but like where you want to be in 10 years' time. Can you see the difference? Can you feel the magnitude of the shift that's going to give you? So let's say you have 10 years to create what you want to create, and you are held, you are supported, you are secure financially while you do that. Like let that be your core belief system. And then do a North Star for 1 year. Because your North Star for 2026 is going to be one clear direction that's going to guide everything else, but it has to be anchored in to where do you want to be in 10 years when this cycle actually ends. So it has to be the one thing you're committed to in 2026, and it has to be something that's going to make everything else in your business feel, easier, feel more exciting, feel more, clearer, feel more like you are in flow. It has to be something from your heart's desire. So I don't know if you know this, but your heart is the most amazing magnet, and it will, when you activate your heart's desire, it will start to pull things into your life, and also it will start to guide you. And by that I actually means that the heart is so intelligent, and it's gonna help you, guide you into where you're meant to be, where your purpose are, and also give you directions on how to do things that are illogical, because it is not confounded by the logic of your mind and the identity of the fear that lives inside of your nervous system and your mind. So it has to be something you're committed to. It has to be your heart's desire. It has to be something that really propels you into where you want to be in 10 years' time. Could be launching a high-end group program that would be a massive quantum leap, right? Could be creating an automated funnel. Could be like starting your business, actually. Could be building an evergreen system. Could be writing that book you've been carrying within your heart. It could be growing an international audience. It could be hiring support. There's so many things it could be, and it would be different from you to anybody else. But I want to invite you to feel into, first of all, in 10 years' time, where do you see yourself? How does it feel to be there? What does your finances look like? What does your everyday look like? What does it look like to be you in 10 years? And if you then have to reverse engineer, what is the one thing you could create in 2026, really dedicate this year to, that would change the trajectory of your business and life to go into that place in 10 years, make that place a reality? What is the one thing that could pay back 1,000,000 times? What is the one thing that would shift your identity so you become that person in 2036? What is the one thing that will require you to rise? What is the one thing you secretly have been postponing because it felt too big or too scary? Because that's your quantum leap. It's not 10 things. It's not like a never-ending to-do list. It is that one thing that pulls you toward that version of you that you are. You already are that version, but it's like that version that is ready to be seen, that version that is ready to be embodied within you, right? So when we are prepping, and that's why I wanted to talk about this now, setting that North Star is step number one. It is so incredible important. But the preparing for the leap is actually something we don't talk a lot about, but it is also very important, because that's what could potentially hold you back if you don't have been prepping yourself good enough, so to speak. And I always think prepping yourself, I'm going to talk about 3 kinds of readiness, but prepping yourself on these 3 levels, and also being aware and having the mindset that these are actually 3 kinds of readiness that we need in our life to be able to do a quantum leap. If we don't want, I always say, if we don't do this, we will get an invoice. Our body is going to give us and now you have to pay. That's not what we want. I always say, we want to grow sustainably. That does not mean boring. That does not mean logically. That does not mean, if I did this yesterday, I have to do it today. That is not what I mean. It means having your nervous system intact. It means making sure that you don't lose yourself in the process, right? As good as you can, obviously, because there are parts of ourselves we want to lose in the process, basically. So I'm just giving you the awareness of, if we want to leap without the hustle and without, the stress and the burnout and all that stuff, we need these 3 kinds of readiness. The first one is energetic readiness. That means that you have your eyes on the North Star. And whenever your blocks are showing up, that could be you get triggered, that could be you feel fear, that could be that you are experiencing thoughts and feelings that are not supporting that North Star. You have to take care of it. Because beneath that, subconsciously, there's something holding you back, right? That means that your nervous system needs to be grounded. Like, I cannot stress enough how important it is to do nervous system regulation. If you've been with me for a while, you know I'm like a keen user of essential oils and supplements, and also tapping, and also like, any kind of making sure that my day is sustainable. That's kind of what I do all the time. Like, your nervous system physically has to be grounded. And obviously, whenever we bump up our identities, like bumping up towards the identity we want to create, we have a conflict. And that's what the nervous system is going to react to, because it's going to show up as a fear. So nervous system, we need to have that under control. Otherwise, like, honestly, 80% of the work is in the nervous system. Then we have to have the vision anchored in. And simply, it's also because, like, that vision of who you are to become, that needs to be something you tune into every single day. That's how you quantum leap energetically. Tune into that vision every single day and look at, where am I first of all aligned? Is it my vision, or is it like my present day self, or some of my blocks? And where do I take actions? Like, the thing is, we always aligned, and we actually always take aligned actions. But what are you aligned to? Is it the version of yourself that's not gonna get you to where you want to go in 10 years? Or is it the version of yourself that's gonna take you to where you want to go in 10 years? And then we need to activate your desire, your heart's desire. Like, that is gonna be the fuel that's gonna fuel you. So vision, desire, and that clear yes in your body. If you're into human design, this is a good place to like remind yourself again, how does the clear yes in your body sound like? Like, I am a human design coach as well, and the reason why I took the education was because I was experiencing in my clients that the way they navigated their business looked very differently. Like, the way they navigated their inner GPS looked very differently. And I was really curious what that was all about. And when I dove into human design, I had like so many breakthroughs, but one of them was like, okay, when I embody my yes in my body, my intuition, my inner GPS, it looks different from other people. So that's why I always say, like, that readiness, that part of that readiness is nervous system, is that vision, having that clear, and having your heart desire clear, but also understanding how does my body speak to me? Like, what is the GPS, the language of my inner GPS? And honestly, human design is one of the best tools, I feel, to do that. So if you don't know your human design, or maybe you got a reading but you haven't fully embodied it, I definitely would recommend you to check out my human design course. It's like a foundational course to human design in business, where I teach you I teach you how to navigate from within. And it is so important, because it's not always logical. Like, if it's logic, we did it before. And when we're quantum leaping, it's not something we necessarily did before. So we need to be able to navigate from that inner GPS instead. Okay, the second kind of readiness is strategic readiness. This is where we need to have a real plan. Like, we need to, look at what needs to be done. And I think, especially in this space with manifestation and energetic work, we kind of forget that, because we just want to do the energetic work, which is amazing, but we also need like a real plan. We have to be low-key practical. Like, we need to understand what needs to be done for this vision to unfold. And we need to have space in our calendar. It is sabotage of one of the most, sophisticated forms of sabotage, to want something and then clutter your calendar with something else. So a real plan, what is it going to look like? I'm just going to shamelessly promote my own programs at this point. Rising Star is the real plan. Like, if you want to scale to 6 figures, like online, Rising Star that is the plan. It's like me giving you the plan on how to do it. But I mean, the plan, like the how to, we need to have space in the calendar and we need to simplify. So instead of wanting to do everything at once, simplify one thing at a time and have a roadmap for that thing, because that's gonna make the whole difference. And a commitment to removing distractions, removing noise, and removing busy work. And I know how difficult it can be, because to be honest, this is where, excuse my friends, shit is gonna go down. This is where we have to walk the path and do the thing. And it takes time before we start something for it to unfold. And in that space in between, it is easy to fill that with distraction and noise and busy work, just to feel that we are busy with something, right? And that gives us these instant results and dopamine, dopamine sparks in our brains. But this is actually where you need to zoom in and really get to work and do the thing, like really do the thing. It doesn't mean it has to be hard. It doesn't mean it has to take a long time. It just means that this is where you get real with yourself. The third kind of readiness is leadership readiness. And this is a big one. I got one of my friends, she was asking me, like, if you had to like create an education in something, what would that be? Like, what is the biggest thing that really turned things around for you? And I want to say it's something I call radical responsibility. And it is such an unsexy word, but this is actually what leadership looks like. It is being radical responsible for you, for what you want to create and what you value. Quantum leap does not come from waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from saying yes before you know how to do it. It comes from choosing the direction. It comes from being the leader of your timeline. Radical responsibility for growing. Radical responsibility for your timeline. Radical responsibility for your energetic alignment, right? And it comes from decisions. Like deciding what you want to do, like not compromising, deciding. And deciding that 2026 is not going to be a repeat of 2025, and knowing that by doing that right now, you are actually supported in doing that, because we are closing down a cycle and starting a new one. So as you walk towards 2026, I want to invite you to ask yourself, like, what is your North Star? What is the one thing that would shift everything for you? And are you willing to step into radical responsibility to become like that empress version of you and into that leap? Because quantum leaps really happens when you choose them and you stick to them. You really, really stick to them. And that is kind of what we are being called into do. So I want to know from you, how does this sit with you? Do you also feel like we're definitely ending things right now to step into a new cycle? Or how did you feel the last couple of months were, and how are you feeling into the next couple of months? And are you going to take me up on this? Are you going to do your North Star? And if you are, come and share it with me. Go to Instagram, find me there and share your North Star. I would absolutely love to see you. If you are brave enough and bold enough, then go on stories and share this episode and share what your North Star is. So you can make 2026 the year you really step into the timeline you are deserving and you're craving. Oh, and before I log completely off today, I want to remind you that my Formula 6 Figures is available for you right beneath this audio, this podcast somewhere, because I have a very popular masterclass called Rising Star, the Masterclass, where I take you through 3 shorter videos where I'm actually giving you the full formula to how to grow to 6 figures. And it is a combination of what we've been talking about today, like energetic leadership and mindset, and the real practical how-tos, which I love that combination so much. I think it is one of the most powerful you can dive into. So you can take advantage of that. It's free and it is right below this podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you the most amazing December. Cozy, warm, and just, best time with your family. And then I'm really looking forward to hearing from you, like, what is your North Star? What is the quantum leap that you're ready for? And then I will see you here in the blue sofa. Have a nice day.